off air, so.
No worries. Hello, welcome to another fantastic episode of Let's Throw Out, because Andy, RC, NJ, and Frank are here. Tonight's show is sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts. We are joined by Frank.
Jack, what's happening? We're joined by what?
Huh?
I think he said Frank.
Frank?
He froze.
I didn't hear anything. Hello.
Oh, hello, Frank. Andy, RC.
Hello.
NJ Tech.
Good evening.
Is him showing all his stuff off, which made Tony
It's just
jealous.
some of it. It's just some of it.
Hello, Tony.
Bonjour.
Now, there's a difference because NJ isn't single, but Tony is. Can you tell?
Is that like a
tell.
glass? It's like a glass cabinet, is it, rather than a wall?
Yeah, he opens. Look. Really?
It's pretty cool.
Really?
I like it.
It's like an exhibit. I like that.
Yeah, man.
Help me. Don't encourage him.
Have you got them ordered in your favorite one?
No, they're like non-flyers anymore. There's one from the Argos shoot that I done, which I'm never going to fly again. It's just
Argos, as in the company, the catalog company Argos.
Yeah, I flew done an advert last year for them, but just before Christmas.
What kind of advert? Like a video advert?
Yeah, it was
It was on TV.
Yeah, it was on telly. They aired it 15 times, 16 times.
How did I not see that? What were you flying? What quad was it?
It was the Fossil Stuff 280.
And they were selling it through Argos.
No. It was a promotion. We had to fly like past TVs and round TVs and stuff like that.
I remember the advert.
Yeah, it was pretty cool advert.
Cool.
But loads of people saying, "Oh, it's CGI," and then I put my YouTube video up of the DVR of it, and you can. I'll send you a link later.
Yeah, I need to go. I don't have a TV, so I don't get to see adverts and stuff. But I never knew that.
Shame.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
The link to the video in the chat.
Yeah,
By
I
the
got
way.
it. I got it.
So,
Oh, I did see this. Yeah, but I saw it through another video, not on TV. Yeah, it looks CGI. It's fake. It's like the curvature of the Earth.
Don't start me on that, Andy. Look, Jack believes now. Look, I sent him. I sent him so much evidence that he was actually. We had dinner today, and he was saying, "I think I might believe you now."
Did he agree or did he
He's
just
lost
cave in?
Oh, he totally.
I don't know what he's on about. I did see a video with Jeremy Clarkson, and NASA have made their own weather machine. Has anyone ever seen that?
No.
Yeah. So, Tony like going on at me, being like, they can control the weather, don't you? And I'm like, shut up, you idiot. Yeah. Apparently they can. There's something, So bit by bit, as technology moves further, Tony wears away at me.
I think they do. I think they do it. Don't they do it in Dubai or something? Like they can make clouds to make it rain. I'm fine with that. I see that's plausible.
Well, as soon as they fire a rocket, like in Florida.
Oh, NASA are hacking him.
I was gonna say,
giving away the secrets.
He's been infiltrated.
They fire.
Silence him!
Listen, you might learn something. They fire the rocket, and because the rocket produces so much heat, they spray tons and tons of water on the rocket. That's what all that stuff is, and most of the stuff that comes off the rocket when they fire it up is steam. It's not rocket fuel.
I never knew rockets were steam powered.
It is steam, and then honestly,
It's
after the
vapor.
rocket. Look, listen, this is like fucking real. You're not even. I'm not even joking.
I agree.
When a
Oh,
rocket
that's
fires, listen. When a
awake.
rocket fires, they put tons and tons of water on, and most of that you see when it goes up is steam. And then later on in the day in Florida, it rains because of the steam, because they create their own clouds. That's just a fact. And if you don't know that,
But they
You
don't
do
have
now.
chemicals in them like chemtrails.
no, not they're from out of planes. I can
Yeah.
talk to you about that later if you want. But it's a true thing. If you don't believe me, research it yourself. Even NASA will tell you that they pump gallons and gallons of water over.
But I thought NASA lied about everything.
Well, they do say they do lie quite a lot. Whoever they are, you drinking water and not wine or beer or
Yeah,
iron?
just on the water, so that I can concentrate, make sure that I'm not missing any of the facts and things.
You do know you can private message me, and I'll just tell you all about it.
I know, Tony. No,
If he keeps on, I'm going on the isopropanol. I don't know about you guys.
Sniff it, Jack.
That's strong stuff. Yeah,
Sniff it.
I used to use that to
I
clean.
don't think I've got any nostril hairs left now after doing that. Why am I listening to you? I've had a weekend with him.
You loved it.
Are we allowed to ask about? I've seen some pictures with David and you guys.
Yeah, by all means. What would you like to
Ask
know?
away.
Well, just what did you guys get up to? What's the story? Oh, I also wanted to ask as well. Did anyone go to HobbyKing Live? Was it cancelled because of the weather and things?
I
You
went.
went.
I would just like to say, all my friends, other than, and no, you're going in there, Andy RC. You are all incompetent.
I didn't quite catch that. Did anyone else catch that?
I think it was all curse words, so I wouldn't worry too much.
Oh, is that? So I think what I'm getting from that.
Incompetent fools.
See, because of the glitch there, I got impotent fools. But
I don't think so. Yeah, incompetent fools.
Carlos said he went to HobbyKing Live and it was not great.
Oh, really? Well, just because of the weather. I mean, it was just raining here.
I think he said I went to HobbyKing Live and I put not great to Mikey Dread's How Was the Indian.
Yeah, but I wasn't going to read out what Carlos actually said about it. So.
Oh,
Trying
okay.
not...
Is this in the comments?
Oh, yeah, I've just seen it now. Yeah, sorry. I see Carlos's comment now.
Yeah.
In the chat. Yeah.
It wasn't. It was better. It was better than last year.
Oh my God! So last year was really pants then.
Horrendous. It was so bad.
Last year, I thought it was all right.
Really? You thought it was all right?
Yeah.
because wasn't the biggest complaint last year just the sort of from an organisational standpoint that things were a little
It's
bit
always like that, though, with
catastrophic.
HobbyKing. They just don't, like, they leave it to the last minute. Honestly, like, if we got rid of Frank, it would, and back to the old organisation of Let's Go Now, worse than that, really.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, it's pretty, it's almost on fire.
I'm actually glad I didn't go now after Carlos saying it was super disappointing.
No, wait, as if you were a punter, because they were selling so you could buy Fat Shark, returned Fat Shark goggles for as little as £2. So people were snapping up some unbelievable bargains. You could buy more than one of the same transmitter, put them together and make a working transmitter if you wanted to.
Can you adjust your bandwidth,
For a £5.
Jack?
It was crazy. For instance, Gary
Not.
or Gavin, it's getting very
Real name
confusing
Gary.
with all these nicknames. He bought 2 3D printers for £30.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, there was basically it was amazing if you brought cash and you were in for some absolute bargains.
Well, Carlos said that the stuff that was for sale was pretty much all broken.
Well,
Yeah.
good. Jack, can you adjust your bandwidth? Can you lower it a bit?
I don't know how.
Just go up to the top of the screen and press that signal button and just make it lower.
Break it down a bit.
Less HD, which is always better, and your voice will come across.
So how did you guys end up meeting with David? He was over here for something. I'm just interested because I think probably a lot of people, including myself, sort of got inspired by the early flight test days of where David was there. And so I know you guys were friends from the podcast.
It's more Jack. Answer.
What? He came to see me to pick some stuff up. A rocket knife. He
Really?
Yeah, he basically grabbed some like laptop stuff and he ordered, because it was cheaper to order stuff to the UK in Sweden, and it's cheaper to pick it up than the overall shipping.
That's crazy.
Instead of shipping something directly to Sweden, it's cheaper to not only ship it to the UK, a plane over here.
Wow, that's madness.
It is madness, isn't it? So
he also said things like the bus from where he lives to the airport is like 100. That's the Swedish currency. Yeah, and the flight's less than that. So
did you guys get to do any flying together, or is it just sort of meet up and hang out?
Just a meet up, really. I basically spent most of the time. Basically, that's all I can say. The poor sod. He we dragged him round. I was showing off my friends, and I poorly arranged a meet in London very badly, which we were 2 hours late for, which annoyed him because it's me. He's like never late for anything, so like and yeah, but I think Andy made his day with whatever he printed for him. Say that.
Andy or Andrew or Frank?
Frank. I don't know.
The thing we're not allowed to talk about.
I can't tell you any of the stuff because it will ruin the surprise of what he's going to do with the rocket sled.
No, that's fine. I love what he's doing with the rocket sled, though. I think it's great.
Rocket Knife! I think we should all do a Christmas song called Rocket Knife.
What? And ruin a charity? Like bankrupt them, destroy them.
Does he still get to do any flying, or has anything to do with flight test or anything, or is it pretty much his own thing now?
No, his own thing. A lot of people are like complaining, being like, "Stop doing the rocket knife, do some more RC stuff." It feels weird, like talking on behalf of him. I'm on soon once he's like recovered from being over here.
being around Jack for too long. Everyone needs recovery.
That's enough to. Only fate worse than that is being sellotaped to Noel Edmonds.
That would be quite bad.
Yeah, without a beard guard either.
Talking of beards, you just got rid of yours. You had one in tribute to David's bad boy one, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, I was worried he weren't going to meet me, like recognize me, because like when I first met him, I had a beard, so I thought I'll leave the beard on. So, and then after it was like growing into my mouth, like there. So I got home, shaved it, like hurt myself. Really. So, yeah, got a game. Having a meet with David Stall in the middle of a work day, so he can get there. I know. I'm sorry. He came down on a weekday. I did the best. At least I told people about it now, rather than keeping him to myself.
We tried to get
Because
it to
clearly
be
I
at
have a sex
lunchtime, so
dungeon.
people could at least kind of maybe come along at a reasonable time during the workday, but reasonably local. But that didn't happen.
It was hard, man. It was hard.
He was only
Sort out.
there for what? I mean, literally
2
got off his
days.
plane, went to yours, slept, went to what was it, Sussex Module Centre or something.
Yeah.
Then up to London, and then disappearing again.
Oh. Seek and like Carlos said, kind of told people. Oh, no, like,
Didn't
it's-
Carlos get to meet him? I think he did.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah, enough
like.
to Carlos got there.
I don't know. He you know. Say anything. I'm sorry. I suck. Blame me. This to the Tony. Now we're getting Schizo on here. No, it keeps lining up with his live streams. So if you noticed, 15 hours ago he did a live stream. Don't know. I need to wait till he late stream and then track his live stream.
Jack,
So
you're really breaking up. Can you try lowering your bandwidth again, or more, or middle button, move it left, or do that.
yeah, is that better?
I can hear you perfect now. NJ, what you got onto your left shoulder?
Quite a lot of stuff.
Is that all what you've been given and tested, or is that some of you've bought
Some
and
bits
stuff?
review stuff, some of it's stuff I've had for a while, and yeah, there's a whole bunch of bits I'm working my way through at the minute to test and review and bits. I'm actually putting a haul video out later this evening, which talks about all the stuff I've got coming up to review and chat about a few things. One of the things I'm actually quite excited about to try out is the new TBS Crossfire micro bundle. So the small size module instead of the large thing that you operate, instead of having the screen on the back like the older system that's stuck on the back, this one you operate via a Lua script on your Tyrannus. And so people are reporting, Snake FPV and Thomas and Paul at BMS Web have both reported great things about the latency, which apparently to some, I mean, if you hear this from Thomas, it's got to mean something, because the guy is just winning everything at the minute. In fact, I think 2 days ago he won the Adelaide FPV Cup. So another one he's just gone and smashed. But yeah, he switched the Crossfire, and he's come straight out and said, along with Snake FPV, they notice a pretty substantial jump from S-Bus in terms of latency. So that's pretty epic to be, you know, that much quicker. I think it's 3 times quicker. I think we're going from 50 hertz to 150 hertz.
Well, sorry to interrupt, but will us old boys feel that?
Well, see, this is what I want to know, because I don't race, I freestyle. So I'm going to, it's arriving tomorrow. I'm going to fit it to my Beast SX, which is this guy down here with the pink props, which I know probably the Beast is my main freestyle quad, and I know that really, really well. So, because that's the problem when you test out a lot of different drones, it starts to become a bit of a haze as to what feels what and what your preferences are. But I know that quad really well, so I'm going to fit it to that one, and then go out and fly it and see if I can notice this difference that people seem to say. Snake FPV, if you go and check out his latest YouTube video, he actually did a blind test, and he spotted the right one straight away, and it was quite obvious, because he does a lot of those blind tests for various gear, and it's always a bit hit and miss, because the tolerances are so small between versions of things. But yeah, I'm super interested to see how this TBS system does. And it's also apparently very soon they're going to be dropping the price of the, so I hear, I'm not saying this is fact, but so I hear they're going to be dropping the price of the micro receivers, which are the ones that will be fitting to our quads, which is really good news, because obviously they're like, at the minute, I think they're about £50 a receiver, so they're expensive.
They're 56 quid.
Yeah, it's a lot of cash. So apparently Trappy's going to talk to the retailers and have that those dropped, or there's going to be bundle deals where they're a lot cheaper. Because I mean, it's not the biggest thing in the world. If you've already got it, it's a module. So as you switch module, and you can do it one at a time with your quads. But so far, the people who've tried this have switched to it and said, well, this has screwed me now because it's so good. I don't actually want to fly on the standard S-Bus protocol anymore. I want to stay on Crossfire. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm excited to try that out.
Well, I got one and I put it on my wing. So obviously I'm not going to tell any difference. I wanted it for range, basically. And it was like 113 quid. So
that's the pack I've purchased. Yeah,
it was good. And then I looked today because I wanted one to go on a quad, and like you were saying, it's like 56 quid for just the receiver. And I was like, I think I might leave that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, really. There is a premium on TBS stuff. There's no question of that. But the support's great, and the stuff is usually pretty damn good. You know, there's a lot of TBS stuff out there for a very good reason. And he's a clever guy, and I've got a lot of time for the TBS stuff. But I mean, the big things you're paying for really is not only how solid that control link is, it's the latency and also the range. They really do, especially down on that lower frequency where the wavelength is longer, and the longer that wavelength is, the easier it is to penetrate and bend around buildings and things. You know, the lower the range, the better it will do, which is why, you know, things like 1.2 video are so much better at, you know, for long range stuff and penetrating objects than the shorter range 5.8. The quality is not quite as good, but the longer wavelength is what matters. But unfortunately, we can't use 1.3 and 1.2 in the UK, and the aerials would be huge as well. But I digress.
I know, that's why I've set up my wing with 5.8, and I asked, like, I got Neil Cody, sent me a big long 5.8 helical and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna just push the limits when we have a non-windy day. Which
it's not looking good, is it? One of the things I'm desperate to test as well is Greg sent me from Menace RC, sent me the Bandicoot antenna, the patch antenna specifically for the linear stuff. So I'm really excited to try that out.
They are good. I've used it on my tiny week around my house through Clearview, and you can tell the difference.
Is that using two of them, Tony? Did you use two? Because I was talking to Lee from Painless 36, and he said you get two of them set up on diversity and sort of point them at an angle, because obviously they're limited to the angle. He said that works quite well.
I did use two, but you got to remember Clearview isn't really diversity.
Yeah.
But I used two on it, and it did improve quite a lot. Because I was flying inside. I was inside my house, and I was flying my tiny whip outside my house, and I had a crystal clear video.
That's cool.
All around the house, over the roof, and around plants and trees and.
This TBS stuff, is it 900 megahertz that it runs on?
Yeah, that's right. 986, I think it is. No, hold on. 986 is, I'm wrong. It's 9 or 986 or something like that.
Change it.
Yeah, that's right, for the US, but we're on 8 something.
Because 900 is our mobile phones.
Yeah, I was going to say, wouldn't that cause an issue with them? I mean, I've never really tampered with much long range stuff, but that's what I was thinking. Wouldn't then that interfere when you get like lots of interference from mobile phone stuff?
Yeah, you're quite right. Yeah, it's 900 for the US, and then the rest of us, it's 800 and something.
Another thing I was thinking as well about this latency thing, because I can never tell if someone can give me a PPM receiver and an S-Bus, and I can't tell the difference when I'm flying FPV. Doesn't the latency of the FPV feed sort of limit the latency of the control anyways? So you're always going to have to wait for your video feed to get to you as well as your control. So
yeah, they're all down in pretty you know, we're down in
it's really small tolerance,
microseconds. Yeah, but I think the difference is videos at gigahertz and we're at megahertz on the RF link. So it's the refresh rate of the video. This is another reason why a 5.8 video system, the picture looks so much clearer. Because when I first saw FPV come out, you know, a friend of mine had a glider. This was going years back, you know, when it was like, wow, you can see things from your model. And he put it on a glider, and he was using a 1.3, which was a little bit illegal. But yeah, he was using 1.3 on a glider where you could mount an enormous antenna for that 1.3. And it's interesting to see the 1.3 video picture next to the 5.8 picture.
Yeah.
And you'll see that like he could fly literally miles away and have hardly any breakup with objects in the way. Everything was great, but the quality of the picture was definitely lower, even at close range, than a 5.8. Because you got that shorter wavelength, you got a much higher refresh rate, and the picture
bandwidth
quality is just higher.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's super interesting stuff. But I presume, you know, how much longer before before real digital becomes affordable? Because it's still crazy money, isn't it?
Yeah.
But can't be too long. Personally,
I don't think like you said earlier, BSM Webb. He's young. I think he will notice the S-bust, the difference. I'm not sure I will, because I'm getting on a bit, and my eyes and hand coordination are going to be
he
like
admits it.
2 or 3 times slower than his. So I'm not sure I'd notice it rating or anything like that.
Good for the knackered yard.
Sorry, Davey Boys just said the full-size Crossfire module specs, the micro doesn't have the same power outputs, I don't think. Yeah, that's what I read as well. I think the micro module will do 25 milliwatts and 100 milliwatts. The larger one will go, you can actually plug an external XT60 and like a 2S or a 3S in and boost the power up to something pretty crazy.
I think.
Yeah, which is nuts. You just don't.
But I still read that the micro can do 40. Is it 40 K?
On 100 with that setup, I imagine it can still do some. The other thing that's interesting is that it's got I think it's like a dynamic. There's a dynamic power, which I've heard people say don't mess with that. But there's within a certain distance, it works at the super fast refresh rate, and then as it senses the if you get far enough away and it senses that link weakening, it will switch to like a standard, more S-bus like latency. I mean, again, I don't know what you'd feel and how far away that is. Probably still 2-3 kilometers before it'll make that switch. But yeah, it's super interesting technology.
And I think I can see you got a is it QX7 behind you?
Yeah, the QX7.
If you use that with the Crossfire, I think you've got to do some changes on the Crossfire and the QX7. I'm not quite.
Well, I know from what I read, I think I actually went through the pain in the arse that is upgrading all the firmware on the Tyrannus today. I did the bootloader and the main firmware up to 2.2. And I think you need to do that for all the Crossfire protocols to work properly on their latest firmware. So that is done and ready to go on my. That's ready to go now on my X9D Plus. But the QX7, I'll test that as well. Then I'll find out how much more jiggery pokery you need to do.
Davey Boy says there are issues, and I've read there is issues. And Brad, as my mate, Brad, as he's ordered one, but he knows there's issues, but he knows there's a fix, and I'm not quite sure what it is, but there is a fix, and QX7 and TBS know about it.
Actually, I was asked a question today. I don't know if maybe anyone knows that's watching, but someone was asking about using this latest Crossfire protocol and race flight, whether there are issues there or whether the latest one supports it. Because I know there's been a few people have personally come to me and asked about it, and I don't know the answer yet. I haven't looked into it, but certainly beta flight it's set up for, and KISS it's set up for. With no issue.
Mr. Frost said he took his 250 on holiday, and he was running the Micro RX, and he managed to get 2.2-ish miles down the beach before his pants were fully brown. So he done well.
Is that an OSD element? Like the just pants in the corner that slowly change colour as your battery depletes?
Pants come up and then you know you got to turn around.
That's got to be done. Someone please write that for the OSD.
Well,
that would be amazing.
Pants fill up and you know when it gets to the top you better turn around there.
Actually, there's a great video I saw recently. It's in my history. I'll see if I can find it. Someone has done, with a Crossfire setup, has done on an Alien 5-inch with a 1300 milliamp battery, did 3.6 miles in a straight line, flying very gently and efficiently, 3.6 miles out and back, which is kind of nuts, really. Like 7.2 mile round trip. And got back and landed at like, you know,
I think I saw
100 milliamps or something. It's like the battery wouldn't be very happy at the end of that, but that's kind of mad. I wouldn't risk that myself. But yeah, interesting.
Great test.
Balls.
Yes.
Well, my wing,
Craziness.
I'm so looking forward to my wing. I just hope I'm going to go out Saturday morning. I'm going to get up early and test my TBS Crossfire because I'm hoping. I'm just going to fly 10 minutes out or until my video gets bad, and then I'm 10 minutes back, weather permitting, because I tried last Saturday and I failed. If anyone saw my video, my motor mount broke in the wind. It was so windy. It was horrible. So
was that Hurricane Aileen that you were stuck in?
Well, it was the aftermath, I think. It wasn't too bad when I took off, but I just wasn't getting anywhere. I was nearly full throttle. I was going against the wind because obviously you want to fly
where you're flying for 10 minutes out.
Yeah, I was flying against the wind, so I knew like it was good to go against the wind because if you're going to do long distance, go against the wind, and then you get pushed back and save a bit of your battery. But I was like, at one point I was at full throttle and I was just looking at this fence on the ground and it wasn't moving. And I was just right, I'm turning around, I'm coming home, this is pointless. I was only 3-4 minutes into the flight, and as I turned around, the wind started pushing me, and my motor mount broke, and I just plummeted to the ground and went on a very, very, very long walk of shame.
I think long range is it's a completely different challenge, and I sort of stay away from it because I don't like walking so much. But
I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the challenge and the you know, when you get out that far and you're like, it's like
you're committed.
Yeah, and it's nerve wracking, and you think I've got a GoPro on there, I've got my wing. It's, you know, it's a couple of £100 flying along, and I've got no GPS, no return to home, and it's just a buzz when you get out that far and come back.
When you start losing signal, do you take the wing higher?
Yeah, I've done before. Yeah, it seems.
Why do you need to do that?
It seems to clear up the picture.
Is that maybe because the Earth curves round and you have to go higher up?
See what you did there, mate.
No, Andy. No.
Oh,
him
okay.
for a minute.
I was a bit I was confused why you had to gain height when you got further away.
I don't know. So maybe my antennas were pointing like that.
Yeah, it could be that.
Good one there. I got reeled into that one. Andy.
It was I was genuinely interested because they call it the Fresnel zone or something, which is you have to gain height, and so I've not really done any long range stuff. I have some friends though who have some DJI stuff, and the range that those things can do, it's unbelievable. And that's using 2.4. Absolutely amazing. I mean, I think you can put a limit on it. We've got a bit of land around here that's you know, it's thousands of meters long, and I've got a friend who's way more daring than me and takes his Mavic out to thousands of meters, and absolutely incredible range on DJI. So I think that's the only thing I could do long ranges with my DJI stuff.
My early F450, which is basically, by the time I'd built it up, it was the guts of what is now a Phantom anyway, in terms of the GPS and all the other stuff. I did do one flight like that where I think I managed about 3.5 kilometers out. I was quite high on a hill, nice clean line of sight, big 13 dBi patch antenna.
Yeah.
But the bit that stopped me being nervous, that gave me that comfort, was the GPS. Just knowing if anything went wrong, it's just going to turn around and fly back.
Yeah.
Although, you know, there's so many out there now, we often see the odd one that will turn around and fly wherever it likes. But this one just did come back.
I always think that's pilot area. I've never have any of my Phantom stuff or any of my DJI stuff. Never had problems with it.
Neither have I, but there does seem to be some. I mean, if you look at some of the flyaways, some of them are just so bizarre, like what the quad does, and real like glitching out stuff. It doesn't look like it could be pilot induced.
There's like whenever I get to a new spot, I always compass calibrate. Like if I've driven 30 miles, I always do a compass calibration and do it, fly out, and never had any problem.
Why do you need to calibrate a compass when it points flat? You know, like surely it will just.
DJI told me to. It's
just gonna hit that membrane, you know, and
because
like,
because metal things are around. Like I done it at the beach the other day, and there's this like big metal structure, and it wouldn't.
Left by the aliens.
No, it was just like metal.
Oh, they're watching you. Why don't they probe your arsehole, Tony? Have aliens probed your arsehole, or is it just me that wants to do that?
It's you dirty fucking long-haired geek.
It was so clean up until then as well.
And you just changed the rating of the whole video.
I'm allowed to say arsehole. That's PG-13. I'm allowed leave that in.
That is just what he done.
Not me.
Editor, glitch all of this with a long turning.
Long hair insulted me. Just merely voicing my desires.
Jack, I quit.
You broke Tony finally.
Yes, I know. I thought it was going to be me. I was going to be like, "Yep, the Earth's flat."
Come on, you know it is.
No, it's not.
Like in 10 years' time, you'll all be sitting there going,
"Don't sample that and show it to people either." I know what you're like. Looking forward ahead a little bit. 2018 Summer's Model Show confirmed as June 9th and 10th. Frank?
Yes. No.
Who's doing it then?
Greer is broken. Greer will not be running it. I'm
going to help Ed.
We don't know if it's going to be Ed or who it's going to be, but I'm sure. So there isn't a confirmed FPV flight line at the moment, but I'm sure by June, we've got a few months yet, something will be sorted out.
There will be. We'll have to sort it out between us. I'm sure it can be done. It's not a hard job.
What's Jack holding up?
Dirty northern.
Node.
I don't know.
Oh, that's what comes up, I think, when he receives a message of me.
I want Tony sausage.
I'm glad you're glitching out tonight, Jack, to be honest.
All I heard then was sausage.
Yeah, so did I.
I think that's probably all we need to hear.
Yeah, that's all we need to hear. Otherwise, this poor editor's going to be like, beep, beep.
Does it get edited? I didn't know that.
It does when it goes on SoundCloud. On YouTube, it can stay as it is, but we put our stuff on SoundCloud and on iTunes. And
iTunes.
It needs to be. It needs to be
on iTunes.
Up.
Sound dirty, then it doesn't work.
So yeah, you can listen to. You can go back a year and a half and listen to our first episode if you really want.
That's cool.
I've
started getting lots of warnings on YouTube for, I don't know if anyone else is finding this, for non-advertised. No, yeah, no, but just any video now it seems to be coming up non-advertiser friendly, and I don't know why.
What does that even mean?
I think you look too emo.
Is
You
that
might
what it
inspire
is?
kids to be emo.
Is that a crime? It's a crime.
It
It's
is
a
in-
crime
It's probably
down
different
south.
state to state, isn't it?
I don't know.
NJ looks like, you know.
I was glitching out again. How terribly sad.
Editing himself, I think.
Right in the middle of his NJ insult.
Brilliant,
Oh.
isn't it? It's like perfect. It's like the Illuminati are actually controlling it. Should we go there? No, let's not tonight.
Andy, what's new with you? Have you got anything exciting in the pipe?
No, well, the last week's been a bit of a crazy week. There's been so many products released that I've received, mostly microcopters. I seem to get a lot of those because my channel started off with the little indoor micros and sort of manipulating them and stuff. There's just so many of those going about at the moment. I think just because people are worried about regulations, whether they're breaking them or not, because there's so many different ones. So I think the thinking is if you get a little tiny brushless micro that can sort of emulate what a 5-inch model can do, then that I think that's quite popular. So I've just finished reviewing my last one of those, and then there's a whole load of new products coming out next week as well. But I don't have a lot. I've got the Runcam Swift Micro 2 to check out. I also just checked out their Sparrow Micro, and that's a 16:9 micro camera. Just incredible. Also, there's I think what we're going to see soon is the little Runcam Swift Micros with a VTX piggybacked onto the back of it. I'm seeing quite a lot of that now, so
that's awesome.
I think that's going to come into the micro world, and I think that will probably do away with CMOS cameras in the micro class.
Yeah, good riddance.
Yeah. I know. I reviewed a model that it was a micro. It got the Micro Swift 2 on it, and it was just so noticeable when I was flying that compared to these all-in-one tiny 25 milliwatt cameras. So yeah, I found it difficult going back to those little tiny box cameras after that. So that was interesting. I think we're going to see a lot more of that. I think Holybro have got a new 5-inch coming out. Have you, or it's already out? Is it called the Copris or something like that? Yeah. So I think I'm going to be checking that one out too. I didn't get to check out the GT2 though. Have you?
I have. Well, I did quite a lot of reviews on the old GT2, which is back there somewhere. Actually, the one kind of against that black bag there, that's the new GT2 N. So yeah, I'm gonna.
M for NJ, is that
Yeah,
one?
that's exactly what it is. Yeah, I've set it all up, and I've had a quick fly of it, and I mean, I won't give away too much without spending some time on the deeper review of the quad, but I will say this: it's actually a fair bit heavier than the first one, and it's mainly because they've added so much stuff like the vibration motor dampening system, which is very clever and quite a nice addition. But the problem is you add that, then they've added the ESC protectors, which are aluminium. They've made the battery plate bigger, which is aluminium. They've kept the 5mm thick carbon base plate. They haven't changed the shape of that. So there's just a lot of material there. And I think once I fitted that with a GoPro, small TPU mount to adjust the angle, and a 1350 battery, it came in at about 640 grams.
Yeah, that's pretty heavy.
Quite porky. Considering the old one was, I think, maybe 40, 50 grams, 60 grams lighter than that with it the way it was. So I mean, another chunk of the weight in that is that it has some pretty serious motors on it, but it did fly really nicely.
I think you have two choices now, because we have the option to have really lightweight quadcopters, like under 300 grams, but I found that those, if you like stick a GoPro on them and make them a little bit heavier, because they've usually got thinner arms and thinner carbon, they break as soon as you put a GoPro on. They're fine if you don't put a GoPro on. They're sort of if you crash them, the fact that they're a bit lighter usually means that they don't break. But if you stick a GoPro on there, then they usually do. So
Yeah,
probably
I totally concur with that.
the GT2 has got a huge thick frame. Well, the one I had, the very first version, and I would challenge anyone to try and break that. It's like a brick. So I think either you go heavy and don't break anything, or you go lightweight and stuff's going to break eventually.
I think well, another prime example of that is the B Fight, which you've reviewed and I've received as well. Actually, if I just grab it, which is that light, which is super light. Oh, my camera's out of view. There we go. Which is that guy there. And this started life as a B Fight, but I've completely butchered it and put in a completely different everything and upgraded the motors. But yeah, this is the one that's sub 300 grams. I think it's like 270, something like that.
270.
And because of that low inertia being so light, I mean, this has decked quite hard a few times.
Yeah.
But not carrying the inertia, it's been fine. But as you say, if you start putting the GoPro on and bringing the weight up, suddenly these arms aren't going to cut it.
Yeah.
And it will break. But that would be a real candidate for something like the Runcam Split, where you can. Yeah, well, this is the problem is just, you know, look, you can get 3 in the stack quite happily, but there's no room for a 4th.
No.
Yeah.
So
I'm
that's
hoping
really
the
biggest
V2
issue.
is going to be a lot better, because I want to put my race. I want to put it in my race quads, but
you know how we were talking about latency earlier. I struggled to notice latency between PPM and S-Bus. However, when I flew the Runcam Split, I definitely noticed it. So
really?
yeah, well that was, and you know, my sense,
because it was slower. Yeah.
Sorry. So
Yes.
It was slower.
I could. It was flyable. But I could definitely notice a delay there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So which surprised me, because I never noticed stuff like that. So yeah, that was that. I think if you're doing fast racing through gates and stuff, I think it's doable. But I think if you require that sort of those really quick maneuvers, then you could end up struggling maybe.
Yeah, I think.
There's a question from Davey Boy saying, would it be better to use 16:9 cameras for my Dom 3s? And just because it's been discussed a bit, so I'm sure everyone's got their own opinion on this, but the pros of 16:9, having that aspect ratio as it should be without the side stretched, is obviously good. I found it doesn't really matter in freestyle using a 4x3 camera in 16:9 goggles like the AMWay Commanders or the Dom V3s. For freestyle, it's absolutely fine. It's when you're racing and you're going through gates and all of a sudden the gate looks squashed. And for me, I'm no problem racing through gates, but a 4x3 camera on a 16:9 screen going through the gate suddenly becomes incredibly intimidating for me. It's a weird thing. So in terms of the 16:9 cameras, there's a couple out there. There's a couple of CMOS-based ones, which are actually very fast. Like, you couldn't tell the latency on them at all. I think the Monster, certainly the V1, the V2, I think is actually quicker than the 1177, believe it or not. But the problem with the Monster is, certainly the one that I've been testing, is that very hard to get the settings good. They have a lot of that kind of tendency that CMOS cameras have, where you flip round to see the sun and the wide dynamic range setting on it doesn't really do a good job of exposing both very well.
Yeah.
But in terms of having 1200 TV lines of information, the picture's beautiful. When it's good, it's amazing. And then 16:9 in 16:9 is great. So that's why I'm super intrigued to try the Sparrow out, which I know Andy's tried. But yeah, that's my take on it in terms of 16:9. It's just that vertical space thing. The other thing is, because of the shape of the sensor, you find you lose that vertical, which really, it means that your camera angle is a lot more critical when you're flying, because you've lost that extra vertical information that you'll have on a 4x3 sensor. So you tend to, and going to a wider lens doesn't solve the problem. Like, most of them come with like a 2.5 lens. You put a 2.1 on it and you think, oh, I'll get more vertical. You actually look at a picture of a 16:9 camera with a 2.1, a 2.5, lens, or even a 1.8, and you'll see virtually no difference. All it does is get more warped at the edges, but it doesn't really give you any more vertical information. So there's pros and cons to the whole thing. But I do like, there are occasions for freestyle where I really like a 16:9 picture in 16:9.
It's not, yeah, if you match the camera with your goggles, I think you're on a winner, because I still love my V2s, because most cameras are still not 16:9. There's only a few cameras out there.
Yeah, how did you find the Sparrow held up in terms of the wide dynamic range, Andy? Because that's the bit that I want to test, having worked with, reviewed and looked at the Monster in quite a lot of detail. Was it quite good with shadows and exposure?
Yeah, I thought it was incredible. You know, it's funny because Runcam, they emailed me and said, we're going to send you this camera. We've got no information for you though. I'm like, right. So I didn't know whether it was a CCD or CMOS.
Or a CMOS, yeah, that's interesting.
All that I knew was that it was a micro 16:9 camera. So I took the Runcam Micro 2 off the same model and replaced it with the 16:9 camera, and I flew it, and I couldn't tell the difference with picture quality or wide dynamic range or anything like that. So I was really impressed. For me, the whole 16:9 4:3 thing, it's an OCD thing for me. I'm sure it's fine flying.
Don't you mean OSD?
No, OCD.
no, Andy is OSD.
no, OCD. No, anyways, no. So like a 4:3 camera stretched on a 16:9 screen, like the dumb V3s and the box goggles, it winds me up, even though I can fly fine with it.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't really notice a difference. It's just that everything's in perspective better. When it comes to sort of, does it improve the flying experience? Probably not, because, you know, we're still dealing with analog video regardless.
Well, I did notice actually, because I watched that Sparrow review of yours, and the one thing I did notice, having messed around with the Monster and the Monster V2, is I recognised the on-screen display for that. Interface looked identical.
Yeah,
that got me thinking. You know, Foxeer and Runcam, are they borrowing? Is that an open source interface that is accessible to both companies, or that it was just something very familiar?
Yeah, I mean, they're all hacked CCTV cameras anyway, aren't they?
Yeah, but it had a lot of the same options, which are very different to how a 1177 deal. You turn on wide dynamic range and you set the amount, but it's a totally different thing on the Monster with that menu, where you choose your low, middle, and high settings, and then there's various other parameters around that to try and get it to work. But on the Monster V2, it's been a real mission to get it with wide dynamic range is working well. So if you say the Sparrow was good, and it certainly looked good from your footage, then it's definitely something I want to try.
They've got a bigger version of it as well, and it's just called, see, the one I reviewed was the Sparrow Micro, but they've got a Sparrow, a bigger size one that I need to check out as well, so I'll have to see if there's any difference.
Yeah,
but I like them. You know, I'm not that great at spotting differences, though. You know, I don't do racing or anything like that. I just do freestyle, and any advancement in this technology, I'm just like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, well, I think 16:9 is just it's great, but the only thing I would definitely not choose it for is racing. I just think you need all the vertical information you can get when you're racing, and you tilting that quad at 90 degrees and slamming the throttle. You can't sacrifice information off the top and the bottom.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, for freestyle and just having a lovely picture.
Maybe we'll see a Super View style FPV camera at some point, because I think, you know, when you look at the advancement of any sort of visual technology. It's always gone from 4:3 to 16:9. So I imagine that will probably happen if it goes digital, which it probably will at some point. So when we've all got GoPro quality in our goggles, then maybe it'll be 16:9.
Sounds good to me.
I've got two things. I've got two questions for Tony, and then one thing for Davy. Tony.
What?
Okay.
What?
Did you get? Are you not talking to me again?
Well, I said what?
Yes, darling.
It's like listening to a teenager and his mum.
I know.
Yeah, I know. And then
Would you like a mediator to like talk through me if Jack tells me?
Yeah,
then I'll
okay.
tell Tony.
Okay, Andy, what does the Goliath want?
Jack, I think Tony wants to know what you want.
Tell that bold old dog molesting.
I really wish I had agreed to this already. I'm instantly regretting it.
Has anyone got any popcorn?
Did he?
I'd love some popcorn.
Did
Right
he
now.
get? Yeah, delicious. Sweet or salty? I wonder what kind of guy you are.
Sweet, and you can't mix sweet and salty. It's just terrible. That's such a.
Yeah, I'm more
That's
sweet, but sweet and salty is good, man. You got to try it.
That's
the way
like all the
forward.
bad things in one.
Oh,
Sweet or salty.
Ask him. Is he? Tony, did you get your camera working? Because obviously you don't like me anymore.
Tell that friggin' Yeti long-haired freak I did.
He's so petty. He's so petty. He had a go at me earlier for trying to read the Daily Mail.
I said all newspapers were the crap.
Oh my god! This comes from the guy who spends his life on WikiLeaks.
The Daily Mail is terrible. I agree
They're
with
all
that.
crap. I don't even.
All right,
I don't
okay,
read the
okay.
news. What to do?
Um,
Did you hear about the this is totally off subject, but Daffy Boy just reminded me because I put a post out. Vegans are now selling their shite.
Poo.
So
Poo, goddammit.
for people like you who have got Crohn's disease, who have got bad poo poos because you eat loads of dead animals.
Relate more of my medical history.
So like a blood transfer.
How about where I
but
live?
something
Do we give out my address?
It's a poop transfusion. So what I do is
Personal,
I shit
private
and send
information,
it
Tony.
to, I shit and send it to Jack, and then Jack has
Would
to.
you
put
like me
his
to tell
dry
everyone you
poo
only got one ball, Tony?
and it makes him better. Welcome to Let's Poop Out.
Hmm? How about my mother's maiden name? You want to give that out as well?
Oh dear.
Yeah. You're an arsehole. You're an arsehole.
I think I remember you saying last week that you had to have tests for something like live on air. So
Yeah, I know. Yeah, tests. I know. It might not mean there's something dementedly wrong with me. Oh yeah.
well, look, we all know you're
God,
demented
he's just
wrong anyway.
Such a. Did Si get his stuff, by the way?
He hasn't. No, he hasn't picked it up.
All right. He'll probably come tomorrow. Davy, right, guys, we're in Tech Corner now, where we try and help people instead of ruining their lives like Tony.
Oh dear.
What an arsehole.
Look,
Like actual.
exactly. You're saying exactly the right thing there, Jack. Arsehole. It will help. I
hope the aliens get you.
Has anyone used this? I've used this the other day, and it was a win. Conformal coating.
Oh, conformal, yeah.
Yeah, I put it in. I took the cord apart, covered my ESCs, covered my flight controller, everything. Left it for a day, turned it on, fired up fine, and I actually put my quad out in the rain. It was peeing down, and I flew it in the rain, and it was fun. So I know now I have a totally waterproof quad that I can actually fly in the complete rain. Like I really want to do a proper peeing down. Like,
where'd you get that from, Tony? Because I've killed 2 quads in 2 weeks. due to landing on wet grass?
I got it off eBay. It's called flexible silicone coating electro lube. It was £6 delivered.
I wonder what he was trying to find that.
It's amazing what comes up in your recommended section.
I got it for you, Jack.
Silicone lubricant.
I'm just gonna.
The lonely nights. The lonely nights. I can smell the muster of the testosterone.
So,
Right.
Jack, what problems were you going to solve in your tech pod?
Shut up, you vegan idiot. Right. Hello, Jack. I'm looking for some advice regarding my most recent build. Oh, basically, the problem is I've got video lines in my video feed.
Mhm.
I armed the quad, nothing major, but I decided to have a poke around. Right, so would you like to know what he's running, or shall I just get to the problem?
Get to the problem. It's all right.
Okay, all right, no worries.
We can read if we're that.
Arrow V3 on there, NJ, by the way. I love your review on that. He hasn't reviewed it. Have you reviewed it?
Yes, I have. I have actually, Jack.
What I discovered is the top part of the pod, when the frame, where the camera and VTX are mounted on it, when he takes it from the bottom section and arm it, the video is nice and clear. But as soon as I sit the pod back on, the lines appear. So I'm guessing his motor screws endings. Do you reckon?
Yeah, it sounds like that's exactly it. You've got something. There's basically like an earth loop in there. So I would check each point on each ESC of the 3 points, and I would check it again. Put the negative into the motor screw, or that's the easiest way, or the negative of the battery terminal, and then go around the other one and check each of your ESC points and see if you're getting anything go off, except the ground wire, because obviously that will go off. But I'd check for that. Very likely to be a ground screw going in. If he's getting, it's a little tricky to tell, because a lot of the really nasty lines that you get from motor noise, if it is motor noise, it's usually flat or slightly diagonal, and that is alternating current coming in, because that's all your ESCs are, the little alternating current generators. And you tend to see that more in the higher throttle range. So sometimes a quad that's giving you bad problems is due to, you'll see more of that in the upper throttle range. So if you're still getting that after you checked you haven't got any ground problems, chuck an LC filter in there. Most of the modern flight controllers these days and all-in-ones with OSDs have pretty decent filtering, so you tend not to have a problem. If you still can't get it solved with an LC filter, the absolute be-all and end-all way to kill all AC noise in your quad is to put like a 250 microfarad radial capacitor on each ESC. You put that and that stops it dead. I guarantee you will have perfectly clean video. That is the 100% way to solve it. Most of us don't have to do it.
And what are they?
So you put them in parallel on the ESCs. So you've got the plus and the minus DC in, and then you've got your 3-phase out to the motor. So on the plus and the minus, you wire the plus to the plus leg of the capacitor to the plus right at the ESC with the legs nice and short. And like I said, around 200, 250 microfarads radial capacitor. And you just put a lot of ESCs, the older ESCs and the helicopter ESCs,
they have them.
They've got them all on them. I don't know why mini quads, they just started taking them off, but they've been on them for years. It's just, well, yeah, there is that, but it's
size.
It's a good idea to have.
Did he say as well? ESC? Did he say that the lines weren't there? He's got it all in a pod, and when he screws the pod down, that's when the noise comes. Is that?
Yeah.
It could be shielding as well on the VTX if it's like a poor VTX. I found as well. If it gets closer to, like, say, a regulator on the board, then noise can get through the. If it's got bad shielding on the, VTXs have the plate. Say again, sorry.
The Unify though, so it should be all
right.
Oh,
was it? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so the Unifiers are usually pretty bulletproof for that kind of stuff, sure.
So, right,
yeah, I try all those
sorry.
things anyways. A few bits to have a go at there. Any other questions?
So, oh, hang on. So, I was just going to elaborate more. So, the easiest way is remove your props, in, then stick your multimeter onto volts, 20.
Jack, mute your video so we can actually hear you.
So, I'm trying to show stuff as well.
Well, lower your.
I can't. Why? I don't care.
This doesn't feel right. We're actually learning stuff.
Yeah, alright.
Try
Move on.
adjust your bandwidth, Jack, again.
Move on.
No, we want to learn, Jack and Ori, but we can't.
There's my bandwidth down, okay?
Right.
Audio only.
That's better. So talk us through it.
What's the point? I'm trying to show something visually as well.
Well, fucking.
So I won't bother. It's fine.
There's a lot of tension tonight, isn't there?
Isn't there? Do you know
Yeah.
what it is? Because we've spent too many days together. That's what it is.
So I'm annoyed at the technology.
You need time to miss each other again. Is that what you're saying?
That's it. That's exactly what it is, NJ.
I have to record on a
At least
potato.
a year.
A potato, literally. No, it's fine. We had. It was civil. I had a good time. His dogs didn't bite me once.
Or David.
It's great.
It's just that we can't hear you, and you're like this, Jack.
Fine.
Davey Boy asks, Andy RC, have you done a draw for the giveaway you did for the B fight and the other 120 quad yet?
I have, yes. I'm just waiting for them to reply. So I did a giveaway, and I said that if I don't get a reply within a couple of days, I'll be picking someone else. So the leader 120 winner has replied, but the B fight guy hasn't. So I might have to redraw it if I don't get a response. I actually use it's a cool website. It's a random comment picker, and you just put your YouTube URL in there and press the button, and it like picks it for you. It's really good because it means that no one sort of gets missed and stuff.
That's a good idea.
Sweet.
I was just laughing at Curry Kitten's comment. Get the lube out to relieve the tension.
Oh dear.
Any other questions that we have missed that need looking at?
Well, Jack's gone off in the ump now, so he's.
I've had a fire today. Can I talk about that?
Yes, talk about your fire.
We forgot about that.
Yeah. So I was working on a video today, and NJ, you'll probably get this. Like, you know when you receive something and it just, I think you had it with the B fight, and it just all goes wrong, and you look at it and you just think, this is going to take up a lot of my time.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
There's a couple of quads out there, and I've mentioned it in videos before. So there's the Fury B brand you might have heard of. It's like GearBest's Ishin, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
From what I gather, like Ishin and Fury B, they're just brands that the company just bolts on there. I don't know if you've seen the these Ishin EV goggles that everyone's talking about. Well, if you go on GearBest website, they're called the Fury B EV100. So I don't think that Ishin and Fury B, I think they are just brands that either Banggood or GearBest slap onto a product that someone else provides. So anyways, I've been having problems with it. Usually this Fury B brand is pretty good, but they've released a quad called the P180 and the G180, and I've had 3 of them in an attempt to try and get a review out of them, but every time something fails. I managed to get a review of the P180, and that took 2 models and 2 ESCs catching fire. They've sent me that this is the one that caught fire today. This is called the G180, and it was just sat on the desk. I was just this one already had an ESC fail. It just wasn't working. It's the ESCs that are the problem, and it was just sat on the desk there. I had the battery plugged in, and the magic smoke just starts coming out.
Oh, great.
And yeah, so that's my no review today because it just caught fire, and I'm not sure whether I'm going to persevere with it because it's exactly the same components as this P180 model, except it's got a different frame. So yeah, if you ever check that one out, it could be a lot of work for you. I'm at the point where I'm kind of like, oh, I've had enough of it. Like, you know, three ESC fires is it's not worthy of my time anymore.
Yeah,
kind of
I
thing.
agree.
But yeah, that was my day at caught fire. I might, like, I get fed up with it and throw it back in the box, but I might stick another ESC on there at some point. But yeah. It's like sometimes you'll spend, I think, and people don't realize this when you review stuff, like it can be, you can literally spend all day on it and then it breaks at the end. There's nothing you can do. You can't release the video, and you have to talk with the company. You have to send it back sometimes, them send you a new one, and it's sometimes it's just not worth the effort. So yeah, that's my story today.
Yeah, and it's all part of the parcel, especially when we were talking, you know, a lot about these long range systems earlier. These things go through my head. You just think it's just that whole argument again of single points of failure. You know, the helicopters are riddled with them, and so are quadcopters. You know, one capacitor on one ESC might go down, and you know that one capacitor is a single point of failure on a quadcopter, and let alone the ESC as a whole. You know, there's all these things. So there are things that you do just have to. I think that you should spend the money on if you're, you know, building one yourself. And yeah, if you get 3 of one quad as a plug and fly, and you've had this same issue with the ESCs each time, I mean, ultimately this is going to cost them because they've clearly got a QC problem with the ESCs that they're being provided.
Yeah,
but
I would say
at the same time, you kind of have to put the word out there. Sorry, you don't want to upset the people.
Yeah, when it came to the P180, that's what I did. I managed to get a review out of it, but I did sort of say, look, you know, it's had 2 ESC failures. It's had noise all over the video as well, and yeah, so I would probably avoid that one.
Yeah, indeed.
I don't like saying something's crap. So what I will say about this one is that
it's not very good.
What I'll say is, on paper it looks fantastic, but mine that I got a little bit flamey. So
Hot under the collar.
Red props to hide the fire.
yeah.
Are you coming back, Jack? Have I upset you, or has your ISP upset you that much that you?
Everything, all above, absolutely everything.
I have.
I'm disappointed in Andy RC for not defending me.
Not defending what? Defending what?
I don't know. I ain't got a clue.
I was the person in the middle, and yeah, I was just.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, don't shoot the messenger. You know what I mean?
No. Especially if the messenger as good looking as he is.
You and me.
You should sing my replies.
There's a reason that I rarely show my face on my channel. It's not worth looking at whatsoever.
Oh, come on.
Oh, that's probably what they mean. It's like advertiser unfriendly.
Yeah, my face.
It's like
my face is advertising.
It's the male version of "Hello, boys."
Come to think of it, yeah, every video I've had where they've said not advertiser friendly was one where I got my face in it. So yeah, that's nice.
Davey Boy says you're too beautiful, Andy.
Oh, thanks very much. I don't know what to do with that information, but thank you.
Not that far North Wales. What is the castle thing in North Wales?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Wales though. That's the worst part.
Yeah, but It's the castle.
It's Wales.
It's mileage, isn't it? Hello, BSM Web.
Yeah, I was just about to say
I
BSM
know,
Web.
mate, I'm so sorry I haven't texted you. I'm a knob.
No one, see, no one like went, no, Jack. Like, nodded.
Fuck it. Sorry, Andrew, I cut you off. What were you going to say?
I was just saying big hello to BMS Web, to Paul, BMS, not BSM, Boo and Hiss. Yeah, BMS Web, especially obviously Paul and Thomas, and Thomas winning the Adelaide Cup. That was absolutely epic. If you haven't been on their channel and checked out that video, you should go and watch it. It is absolutely incredible. Like my adrenaline was going just watching it. I don't know how Thomas stays so cool.
I know, he's brilliant, isn't he?
Yeah, super frustrating.
Or something.
Yeah, I think it was 8 for first place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it. When I was at Western Park watching, listening to those beeps go down,
Oh,
my heart was going.
Yeah,
I was watching.
them beeps, man. That I will. You know when you die and have flashbacks.
Well, I don't know about when I die, but yeah, flashbacks.
They're going to be there. Beep, beep. Oh, buddy, I hate them things.
I think that, you know, that last beep is like the lead up to
The flat line.
sequence is kind of like Tony's mind. Hook your monitor up to a beep module in intensive care. You know, that's his mind flatlining.
Here we go. Here we go. Come on, then.
That's where that comes from, near death.
So the Davy boy is just asking about a couple of quads here in the quad corner. So the two he's asking about, he said, what's the white quad? So that's the one I did a 3-part build video on that guy. That's the Beast SX by Ready Eddie, which is very beautiful. It's just awesome with the crazy.
Why does it look like it's made by Apple?
It does a little bit, doesn't it? In which case, it's £1 million. And the white one that's my main freestyler, which is the X version of that, which is called the Beast. Yeah, while we were on the subject of ESCs, these are the Furious ES high volt 35 amp, and they are very light and very, very good. They've been solid. I've got them on both of those actually. So if you want to know what ESCs I run, those guys there are absolutely superb. So yeah, that's what's floating in the background.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of people talk about SpedX as well. Everyone's really liking SpedX. I've got one lot on.
Sorry, that's exactly what they are. Why did I say?
I don't know.
They're not Furious. You're right. They are.
At them and I thought,
I'm really good at marketing, me. Yeah, they are SpedX.
Are they 35 or are they just 30?
I think that, I'm gonna have to use my eyes now.
I didn't know they did a 35.
Yes, they're 35.
Holy shit! This is like the end of the world. I've corrected NJ.
You have, yes. They're ES30s.
And so did
I think they burst to a million, apparently.
Oh, he's trying to get past on a technicality.
Yeah, but yeah,
he's more salty than I am. He's going to leave
really
now next week.
how long until SpedX put their prices up? Because Bradder's flying.
Oh, they're so cheap.
Yeah,
They're
I know
so
they are.
cheap.
They're like £6 each. The ones I've got, and Bradder's is flying a all-in-one 40 amp, and he's loving it at the moment.
Yeah,
And
yeah, no, they're very good.
On the Revo or anything with tilted arms.
Yeah, Mikey said, do they do D-Shot 1200? And Davey Boy quite rightly said no, D-Shot 600. At the minute, D-Shot 600 is where to be. It's getting the most updates and it's got the most features. 16.63 does all the D-Shot commands like turtle mode and all that business. BL Heli 32 is going to be brilliant, but it's lacking the updates at the minute. You know, telemetry, current sensing, volt sensing, RPM data, all that telemetry goodness will come. But yeah, we've just got to wait for the updates for that stuff. At the minute, D-Shot 600 is probably where to be until 32 develops a little further. But
give it a couple of weeks and then SpedX will be everyone's buying them. You can guarantee they just whack their prices up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which will be a shame.
Are you running D-Shot on those Tiger ESCs?
What?
Well, I love how we all just sat there then for about 10 seconds of dead air.
Well, I was like when Jack speaks, like part of my brain just switches off.
I think he mentioned Tiger ESCs and are they running D-Shot 600? I think.
I
listen to you, Jack.
I don't listen to him most of the time.
It is pointless, honestly. I might as well just draw a face on her. Honestly. And that'd be my new friend.
I would. That's what
It's vegan. The Tiger ESCs, you know, the T-Motor ESCs.
Never heard of them.
I've not tried them, but yes, I know what you're talking about.
Do you run D-Shot on them? You own several pairs.
Who are you talking to? Me or Nin?
Yeah, you, Tony. Nano, have I got to dress you with that first?
No, I run F40s and they're all on multi-shot. And like I've said 100 times before, I'm with Chad Nowak on this. I can't tell the difference between D-shot and multi-shot apart from beeping ESEs and some magic stuff it does. But apart from flying it, no, you great oath.
D-shot, at least you don't have to calibrate it then.
I've used yours running D-shot and I didn't feel the difference between D-shot and multi-shot. I've said it before.
Yeah, but then you don't have to calibrate.
I don't calibrate. Just put it on the floor and plug it in, for God's sake.
Foam it.
You definitely should calibrate if you're a multi-shot, Tony.
Hello.
Look, some on mute, Jack. Now, for God's sake, you're talking on the phone. It's like so professional, isn't it?
I tried out BL Halley 32 a couple of months ago, and it seemed very clunky, and one of the ESCs fried as well. So, okay. And you also need Betafly 3.2, don't you, to get it working as well?
Yeah, I've tried it. I've flown a couple on BL Halley 32, and yeah, there's no massive perceivable difference at the minute to me either. But I think that next kind of step in terms of a noticeable precision will probably be when the telemetry is received from the ESC to the flight controller, saying exactly how much RPM the motor's doing to the point where it can relay that information and Betaflight can make use of it. I think then some really cool stuff will happen. But at the minute, yeah, there's. As I said, D-Shot 600 all the way for the meantime.
I remember about a month ago, I reviewed a quadcopter that didn't have BL Halley SESCs. It was just BL Halley, and like no one was interested anymore because it didn't have the S on the end. And I think maybe give it a couple of months and no one will be interested in BL Halley S unless it's got a 32 at the end of it.
That's so last week, Andy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Have you had your? We talked about those Ishin goggles. Have you had them yet? Have you checked them out?
No sign of it yet. The Crossfire is turning up tomorrow, and I think very possibly tomorrow, maybe the day after, the Ishin goggles will turn up.
Seems everywhere else has had them, but I haven't seen a UK review of them yet.
Yeah, mine were definitely one of the. I was told about them early, and it was put on order to me as soon as they were available. So it should be here any day. But as I said, we've chat about this product between us a little as well. But there's problems there that I've already spotted before I've even got them in my hands. But we shall wait and see.
It's a strange one, this, because there was 8,000 odd pre-orders. So I think they've probably already sold what they wanted to sell from them anyway. So
I've watched Stu's review on them today. Is that the same ones you're talking about?
Yeah, those are the ones. They're basically it's an interesting case because they were out at £77 on pre-order, And then when they were released, they've pretty much doubled the price of them, haven't they? And it's a really, I've seen that happen before, but not on a scale where like they had like 8,000 pre-orders, you know. So that's like a huge amount of sales for something that no one's tried, you know. But I guess I think a lot of people sort of took the risk and said, well, you know, if they are going to sort of be as good as Fat Sharks, then or even if they're not, then I'll take the risk and spend the £77. But I think now that they've like doubled the price of them, I imagine it's getting closer to the price of the teleporters, perhaps. So maybe, you know, so many people won't be interested unless they bring the price down even more. But yeah, I don't have them yet. I'm still waiting on.
Yeah, I also see.
When you do your video with the Crossfire, are you going to do it like with two the same quads but different? How are you going to do it? Are you going to put it on the same quad and then?
I'll say now, if you want to see a nice sort of blind test video of exactly that, go and check out Snake FPV's video, and he's a great pilot as well. If you go and check out what he just went out and, you know, ripped balls on two same quads blind test, and he was like, you know, on the first quad he said, this has got to be it. He knew straight away. But for me, it's really about using one of my old friends here that I know really, really well, and I've freestyled for well over a year on that quad. And I know how that feels. I know what the rates are like. I know exactly what to expect with that. So I'm hoping that I'm just going to notice it.
So you're just going to change the.
Yeah, I like to think I'm very good at being objective and not hyping about something. So I'm just going to go out and try it, and I may come back and conclude that I can't spot a difference at all, but we'll see. Be interesting.
That would be.
Hey, we've got someone who's joined us.
You all right, fellas? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
How's it going?
What do you have to say for yourself? You're on trial.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my camera, man. I've got nothing to say.
How are you?
I'm all right, actually. Yeah, how about you?
Great, mate. Nice to hear from you.
Yeah, I've been real busy, so it's been a bit sort of mental, but yeah.
I missed the sound of the mechanical keyboard.
Do you want me to type something for you now, just to you know? Can you hear that? Yeah, just came away. I've just
thought, God, he's a proper YouTuber, man. He's like showcasing streaming Velocitrodrone. You know, donate subs.
That's the only kind of flying I've been doing recently. So
that's the weather, right? The weather's been shocking.
Well, I spoke to you the other day, didn't I, Neil? I'm looking for an indoor flyer now, so looking at something like the Emax Baby Hawk or something similar.
Yeah, just something that's not too high voltage and handles nicely and has some prop guards, but still potentially brushless. Although I know that's just me being a bit of a power freak. I know Andy has quite rightly said last week, you know, it's probably a lot more sensible to stay brushed if you're going to be indoors. But yeah, it depends how much expensive stuff you have to break in your house.
I'm not that bothered. There's not that much really, just monitors everywhere. But I have just, however, fixed my quad, so my quad is all back together now. And it's been out of the picture now for about a month. So yeah, just fixed it. I snapped it in two.
Nice.
On the grass. So yeah, new frame.
Is that a Rick and Morty t-shirt I'm spotting there?
And that is a Rick and Morty t-shirt, yeah.
I've been getting into that lately. I love it.
It's amazing.
I'm going. They can't bring it out quick enough. It's like,
yeah. I'll buy that for 25 smeckles. Have you been? Is your camera dirty, or have you been vaping mad hard? Like the inside of Bradders' van.
Yeah, vaping mad hard, man. I've been working really hard, so yeah, I've just been caning the hell out of this thing. So it's all fun. So yeah, so what I'm here then. I did catch some of the show with Tony and his poop that he's going to start selling. I just wanted to know if he had a price on it yet. I mean, are we buying it by the kilo?
I didn't go straight to auction.
Straight to auction and put it on eBay.
Where would you set the
Okay.
reserve?
Or is Tony frozen?
I think Tony's frozen in this really thoughtful-looking kind of pose.
I think he's pretending to be frozen so he doesn't have to reply.
It's such a good impression.
It
It is.
looks very existential.
We'll
I've
see.
never seen him like that.
We'll see on eBay then. Shit soon. In fact, has anybody actually checked to see if it's available on eBay already?
Very possibly.
Oh,
So look.
Oh, Tony's gone. He's had enough.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Let me text him.
There is no vegan poo on eBay. Just to clarify that, unless anybody else has anything else worth searching. I search for vegan.
Plenty of normal poo, though, I'd imagine.
Loads of soap.
I don't. It's now we're like, what happened to Tony?
Run away. Run away.
I don't think he's moody.
Did you also, Neil? Did you get my question earlier about your X7?
I'm not sure. What was the question?
So originally you said that you were going to move over to the QX7 from your
Yes.
X9D once the M7s were available.
Yes, this is true. And now I have the M7s in, and do you know what I found? I've really given both of them a good go. And what I did on purpose was I split my models up so that I didn't just leave one of them behind. If I wanted to fly the quads that I normally take out, I've got half the models on the QX7 and half the models on the X9D. And from a comfort point of view, I have to say the X9D has come out on top for me as a pincher. If I was flying thumbs, the QX7 would be on top. So that's how I feel about those two things. The only thing I find with the QX7 is when pinching that you tend to, sometimes I'll knock the top switches with my finger. So like, for instance, one of the switches there I pull down for acro and I'll knock it when I'm throttling. So that's why I found that not quite as nice. I can still if someone said we've only got a QX7 here, go out and fly it, no problem at all. If there's a preference now between the two in terms of comfort, there's just a preference for me towards the X9D, as they both have those M7 and M9 gimbals. I just think.
Do you prefer
That's
the gimbal? Do you prefer the updated gimbals to stock?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. That is one thing that I've noticed. I mean, I came from Team Spectrum, and we're going back long time.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that long. Originally, it was JR, and it was in the old 35 megahertz days, and Futaba. And then when Spectrum came out, I went to that. And Spectrum have always made radios with really good gimbals, and I missed that when I went to FR Sky. I love the functionality of FR Sky, but the gimbals were, I'll be honest, I just think they're a bit rubbish. And as soon as they brought the M9s out, that was a real night and day difference. You can tension them nicely, and the extra resolution feels really good to me. So yeah, I couldn't go back to the stock gimbals.
You see, this is what's interesting to me about reviewers and stuff like that, because I've had the M9 gimbals now, I think 2 or 3 months, and I'm so close to switching back to the stock.
Really?
Yes. And
so is that a feel thing or a precision thing?
I just can't put the nail on it what it is, but I'm just not enjoying flying with these gimbals as much as the stock. I don't know if it's because I've flown so much on the originals, but I don't know. It just feels more. Now I fly with a ratchet, and I think you guys probably aren't doing that. And
I don't know.
yeah, I think it might be down to that, because the ratchet on the original Tyrannus gimbals is very good, and it's not overpowering, but I've been finding it difficult to tune it on the M9. So I'm probably the only person considering switching back to the stock one.
Well, you could could do half and half. You could just have the throttle side as the M9 for
But then my flying would look even more dodgy than it already is.
I think
Who
the
cares?
other bit I
Come on.
like, the other bit I like is the centering. You know, when you, because of those Hall sensors.
See, I still find movement. There's supposed to be no movement, isn't there?
Have you
with it?
calibrated them?
Yeah, I
And you don't, because
yeah.
mine are rock solid. They
Really?
they don't move at all.
Mine still move. Maybe I got some dodgy ones.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I do know what you mean. They feel different because they're a little taller, the original ones, and you can't get them to go as small.
See, this is such a subjective thing, isn't it? But it's really interesting to all talk about it, because again, another thing which I mentioned that I really like about the M9s is the way the way they kind of max out, like as they hit the wall, that kind of dampening that you get, is because my rates when I do a fast flip, I know that's a consistent to that end. I know how many flips I'll get for the amount of seconds I'm doing it.
Yeah,
and that the way it feels as it maxes out against the wall of the surround on the M9s just feels like it's hitting this perfectly cushioned suspension. It just feels awesome. And when I do it with the old gimbals, it's just this nasty plasticky clunk noise, and it just feels horrible to me. But again, it's a subjective thing. It's a personal preference. But it's funny how all these things are different to different people.
yeah.
Sand down the grooves on your M9s if you want
Sand them down.
the same, and then sand down the new ones.
Yeah, I need to play around with
them, sand them down, and then you can also buy some of that Teflon lubricant that you get for RC cars.
Mm-hmm.
That on there to kind of smooth.
I'm so glad
it.
you said cars at the end of that.
or just borrow some of.
It's been an abnormally high discussion of lube products on today's show.
Yeah.
We've covered at least 3 different
Be
types
getting some commission on
He's
it.
not a first. You fucking arseholes. I corrected NJ earlier. Who are you, Matt? Whatever. Can you put mods in timeout? Does timeout last? Does it matter? Oh, it's pointless anyway. Oh, you win this time. Sorry.
Have you heard of Tony? He hasn't come back.
Oh, he's in the chat. Look,
Oh,
he's swearing at his laptop. So, I think,
he started. He's not actually pissed off at Clint. Clint, are you going to say anything? You come on, you don't say anything.
Can you hear me? I did say I was speaking. I was looking at the new FR Sky X10S, which just looks amazing.
I got no. What? What's that?
So the FR Sky X10S, it looks a bit like the QX7, but obviously sort of all bells and whistles, and it looks really, really nice. Has like a carbon finish to it and a bigger screen, which I assume is touchscreen. But
which is kind of what the Horus was, but then everyone, Bruce slammed it, and then everyone.
Well, that's what it is. The Horus X10S.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah.
That had issues though. The Horus, the GPS problems and antenna problems with the diversity antenna in there, which was causing range issues, and I think there was some issues there. But it looks wicked. It does look
amazing. Yeah. I need one in my life.
Yeah, are they still super expensive? Have they dropped in price?
I don't know. I'm on the actual FR Sky website looking at it. I think I saw they're about $300.
That has come down then, because I'm sure they were more than that when they launched.
I could be wrong. I'll see if I can find somewhere to have a look.
340 on the first website I've found.
That's $340. So yeah.
What's that in Smeckles?
3,400 ish.
How much?
That's a lot.
That is.
Only in
What
Smeckles.
happened to the Horus? Do they even bother doing anything with those anymore? Because that was the reason why OpenTX 2.2 took so long.
So on Banggood, for example, the FR Sky Horus X10S is £325, and the Horus X10 is £278.
Wow. Yeah, that's a big old price drop.
I think the problem is it's sort of you always look at FR Sky or Free Sky, whatever you want to call it, as a budget brand. So when you start going to like £300, you're in sort of Futaba territory and those higher levels, and I think maybe that's why it's not working. Like the Tyrannus, it's quite, I mean the Tyrannus isn't cheap, the X9D, but it's in that price range where it's not too low or too high, and it's got all the features that the top.
Does anyone own a Futaba? Does anyone want to buy this off me? For 12 smekels. It's S-Bus, and it may or may not have been in my mouth.
Well, that's where isn't that where S-Bus came from? Futaba and FR Sky sort of took.
Oh.
So I thought it was from Spectrum, but I could be completely wrong.
I'm pretty sure
You're banned from Spectrum anyway.
Yeah, me and Spectrum don't mix. Me and a lot of things don't mix, but specifically Spectrum, I seem to have a real bad sort of run-in with those.
It seems that the clubs, if you ever go to a club that are flying line of sight planes rather than FPV, they're using all Spectrum and all Futaba stuff. FR Sky is pretty much like for FPV stuff. I'm finding there's sort of like a bit of a divide there.
It's so flexible though, isn't it? The FR Sky stuff, you can get it to do anything, and the logical switches, just it's so brilliant. What you're kind of only limited by your imagination when it comes to what you can get that transmitter to do. But yeah, it's just
the interface because OpenTX is awful. Sorry.
OpenTX is brilliant. I will have nothing bad said about OpenTX.
It's the confidence in it as well, though, isn't it? I mean, FR Sky just seems to work. The range is good. The penetration is good. And it just does exactly what it should do. Whereas, there are some transmitters out there which are terrible.
Yes, there are. No, it's a great.
I think FR Sky receivers sort of they more suit quadcopters because of the single S-Bus input as well, rather than having the individual. When I was building a little 3D plane, I was struggling because I wanted to use my Tyrannus, but I was struggling to find a receiver that had more than 4 channels that was small enough to fit on a plane. Like other than the X4R, you then have to go quite big to get more channels, like the 8XR is it called, and the 6 as well. They're quite chunky to put on a little lightweight plane, so maybe that's why as well, that it more sort of favors the quadcopter world.
It's something that took Spectrum quite a long time actually to come around to kind of realizing that the quadcopter thing was pretty damn big, and they need to make some more receivers that are focused towards fitting in quads, whereas FR Sky just steamed in there and continued to make ones straight away for ultralights like the XM, and now you're getting ones that small with telemetry. So but I will say, I'll give my buddy there in the comments, Blood's FPV, a little plug, because he made for me, you see these custom plates with my logo on them.
Wow, nice.
Around, which look pretty cool.
They are sick.
So, yeah, Blood's made. They're actually an aluminium sheet with a print on, so they're really nice quality. But yeah, if you go over to his website, you'll have to put a link in the chat for people. But yeah, he can do those with your custom logo and stick
I'm
those on.
surprised you haven't got a stand on the back of that, NJ.
No, I will get one with that new Crossfire going in there. That's probably not such a bad idea. Where do you get those from? Because I was going to look in like Fast Lad, the RC
I nicked mine from Jack's room. I think he got it from HobbyKing. It was like 10 quid or something like that. They're just like just a clamp that you just pull out and put. I love the fact that I can put my controller down and it stands up every time without getting dirty and wet and horrible.
Yeah, I definitely need to get one of those. That's a really good point. I shall go and buy one.
I stole it off Jack. Sorry, Jack. My God, we've done another 2-hour show. What the hell?
Yeah, it's gone quick.
It's Andy. Andy comes on and we all love it and we stay on for 2 hours.
Because I talk nonsense most of the time, I think.
No, we love your videos and we love you having you on here. It's great.
Thanks very much. Yeah.
Fab. Well, on that note of much love.
Are you and Jack gonna make up before we? Because I kind of feel like there's. I almost felt like halfway through there it was the end. We were watching the end of the podcast, like. You know.
Yeah, sorry, I was coughing. Frank has lovelily been working on Let's Drone Out badges.
Wow,
Very
they're
cool.
nice.
Beautiful.
So
Very
the
cool.
smaller ones, which are smaller than this, will be about £3 or £4, and these will be how much, Frank?
It was £6 for the bigger ones, £3 for the smaller ones.
Yeah,
They're really cool.
that's
Shiny stainless steel.
So that's
Where can we get them from?
They'll be up on the Facebook page in a bit.
You want t-shirts still, don't you? I think we're going to have to go into hoodies now because it's getting cold
Yeah.
and dark.
Proper cold, isn't it? Yeah.
Right.
The hoodie would be cool. Yeah, I
Um,
wear a lot of hoodies.
Mitts. Can we get Let's Drone Out mitts?
I'm going to
what,
try.
flying mitts.
I'm going to swap the t-shirts I was going to try to do to hoodies. I need to talk to Frank about it. Not Andrew, because Frank's better at the hoodies than Andrew's good at the t-shirts.
I love a hoodie, probably because I'm northern. There you go. Let's see.
It's
Wearing one right now.
No, I thought
But-
Northerners were
colder.
impenetrable to the cold. I thought they wore t-shirts in the winter.
Yeah, but this is so that no one can recognize us when we're robbing them.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I see. Right. You've been listening to another marathon show. I promise it won't happen next week. Some really interesting stuff, and you guys done really well. Plus, when we were going to finish it, Clint came back, interest or whatever. So he made a little return, and then we also had to hang on to find out whether Tony was being a diva or not.
I got abducted by aliens. I've been
He
away
just-
for like 10 hours.
Good.
And come
They
back.
They want his shit that bad.
Yeah,
They put me.
I hope they got right in there. Yeah, so you've been listening to Let's Drone Out. I'm really sorry, Andy RC. This is, you might as well not go to sleep now because it's tomorrow for you.
No, that's fine.
Okay. You've been joined by Frank, who's making lovely badges.
So long.
Please buy badges from Frank as well. So if you don't like publicly announcing that you listen to Let's Drone Out, which we fully understand, you could use them as a fridge magnet.
You look like Rimmer from Red Dwarf with the H.
I was going to say he's got magical powers or something.
So we've been joined by Frank, Andy RC. It's a pleasure.
Hello. Bye bye. Even.
You're lost and you're fire. Good to see that you're still alive. Clint.
That was just like.
Hello. Hi.
I know. NJ Tech.
Take care, guys. Good questions and comments, and good to see everyone in the comment section chatting lots tonight. So yeah, great. See you next week.
The Diva Tony. He will now be selling poop. So Frank does badges. Tony does poop.
Vegan poop for the win.
Like Jack, who you know far too much about, thanks to Tony. Thank you and good night.